Sounds like there's a lot of interest.
All right. A few people have invited us in just to laugh at me on this deal. Is that you? Is that what this is?
That's not what this is. That's just how Mark is. Let's see what you got.
I'm sorry.
You smell that? What is that?
What?
What's that smell?
A cologne?
No.
Opportunity.
No. Money.
Oh, okay.
I smell money.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. I hope you all are having an amazing Friday. And in this video, we're going to talk about my golden rule for buying comic books. Yeah, that's right. I actually have a personal golden rule that I use to help me collect or to make decisions on whether or not I'm going to buy a comic book. And it's really, really simple. And in this video, we're going to talk about it here today. But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, do one of those things, I would appreciate it. But let us get into the topic here today. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't some, sagely advice that I have for you guys or, some wisdom, if you want to call it that you've never heard before, but it is something that I tend to remind myself quite often, and I find it helpful in terms of my collecting habits. Now, for me, my personal goal is that when I collect comic books, I want, for the most part, to have the hobby pay for itself. And I've been pretty lucky so far in having my collection actually do that. And I think one of the main reasons that I've been able to be successful with that is that, generally speaking, I followed this one rule when buying comic books. Now, let's do a little bit of a preface here. The golden rule of buying comic books is always buy what you like, right? We all agree with that. Buy what you like is the golden rule. Okay, let's table that for now. But I do have a second golden rule. And the second golden rule is this. I will only ever buy a comic book that is being sold at the same price or cheaper than it is being sold off of eBay. Now, let me repeat that. It's very, very simple. I will only ever buy a comic book that I find that is being sold at least the same price or much cheaper than that of the price that is being asked for on eBay. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, right? So generally speaking, when I'm out there in the wild hunting for comic books, what I'm always looking for is to be able to find books that are being sold at prices that are cheaper than what they are going for on eBay. Now, why do I do that? What is my logic for this? Well, of course, there's the simple idea that, if I want to flip a comic book, like let's say I find one, for $10 in the store that's being charged for, $20 online, certainly I can go list it on eBay and flip it into, a $10 profit. That is one reason why I generally follow this rule. The other reason I generally follow this rule is that, in comics, when we're out there and we're buying these comic books, there's no return policy, right? So, there's no buyer's remorse or able to, return a book that you actually realize that you don't want to have in your collection. So, if I am able to find a book that is being sold on eBay for at least the same price, I know that if later on I regret buying that book, I can at least return it back into the market to somebody who actually wants it in their hands. But on top of all those reasons, the most important factor as to why I want to always be able to find books in my collection that are being sold for cheaper than they are on eBay is because of the liquidity issues within the idea of comic books. Now, liquidity issues, what am I talking about here? Well, comic books obviously are an art form and an asset that, maybe you want to invest in, or you can, park some money in, or they can be a store of value. And while it is certainly a thing that comic books go up in value and can give you, good ROIs in your investment, just because a book has gone up in value doesn't mean that you can actually get that market price for it today. You have to be a little bit patient when you want to cash in on this particular asset. This is not like crypto or the stock market where I can instantaneously find a buyer at the price of that the market is commanding. So, art and comic books in this instance are not as liquid as those of other, assets within, financial investments. So if I'm able to find a book that is being charged at lower than the prices of that of eBay, I know that when I want to sell that book and put it back out into the market, I can beat all of the other market prices for that thing and still have a good return on my investment because of the fact that I was able to originally purchase the book for less than market. And by following this rule, what that has effectively done for, my entire collection, all the books you see behind me and in the ones over here off to the side, it makes my collection very, very liquid to me in terms of being able to either recoup my money or cash in on my, unrealized gains, so to speak, within the comic books that I own. But let me kind of show you guys some examples. And I have 3 books here that I recently picked up, in some comic book haul videos that I showed you guys, on this channel right here. And let's kind of look at sort of the like buy it now prices on eBay that, these books are being sold at. Now, again, this is not like a perfect exact science rule. This is just a general rule that I follow. And when we're talking about, the prices that they're being sold on eBay, I'm not always concerned with beating out the prices that maybe these things went for, in a live auction bid. I'm mostly focused on beating the prices of the lowest price buy it now. So let's kind of dig into this here. And I'm going to start with Fantastic Four Annual number 6. This is a book that I got, a couple months ago, I think at the beginning of the year. And when I found this in the LCS, I found this copy for $45. So when I was in the store, basically what I did is, I was flipping through, I saw this book and the price was $45. And, this is something that I always really wanted. But for me, again, I wanted to know if I buy this book here today, will I either be able to sell it for more, or B, at least get my money back if, later on down the line, I am no longer interested in owning this book. So, what I did is I went over to the eBay and I basically just did something like you're going to see here on your screen. And that is, of course, search for Fantastic Four Annual number 6, sort by lowest price first plus shipping, go to buy it now. And then I basically just look for, what are the potential books that I'm going to have to compete with if I eventually want to sell this thing. So again, here the lowest price buy it now for this book that you can get on eBay is $114 plus $5 for shipping. So already, me finding this book in the wild for $45 already beats this price. So I know that, when I buy this book, if I want to, cash in immediate equity, I can sell it on eBay probably for undercutting this bid right here for like $80. Maybe I can sell it for $90. And what that means for me is that I have the ability to offer the market, the best, most competitive price that there is going to be on eBay. Now, if I look at this book right here, this one is pretty beat up. I mean, my copy is definitely nicer than this one. It's got that fat tape on the side. It's got some tape pulls. I mean, my copy is definitely far from perfect, but I think that my copy presents better than this one right here. And again, this is just sitting here at $115. It's not like this is the actual price that this book is going to get because, if that was the case, this book would have already been bought. So, again, it's not a perfect rule that I'm looking to follow with this thing, but generally speaking, what I'm looking for is that, if, Annihilus is coming to the MCU and the book really gets hot and I know that I want to immediately cash in, my equity on that book, I know that I can beat some of the lowest market prices that are out there. And that's going to ensure that I can have those gains in my collection. Let's look at the next book here. And this is where, my rule is not, again, a perfect science, but let's talk about my copy of Avengers 196, another book that I got, I think in the same comic book haul. And I was able to get this one for $100. So let's kind of pull up, what this book is selling for right now on eBay. And again, the goal posts with these things are always going to move. Again, I'm buying it and whatever the market price is at the time is the market price. And, who knows, maybe the book goes down in value. Maybe the book goes up in value. Things change. Again, this is just a general rule that helps me with my collection. So if I go to the buy it nows and I sort by lowest, you can actually find a copy right here being sold for $60 with, $9 of shipping. But, my copy is probably a near mint. Like I'm going to guess that it's a 9.4, maybe a 9.6. And this one right here is, I don't know what you would call this, like a VG copy or so. So I know that, where I'm selling my copy, I can generally beat this price based on the grade that it has. So if we go down here to the next one, we see one being sold for 78, but this one is advertised as a 5.5. We have one being sold here for, 90. This one is being advertised as a fine. We have one here for 95. Let's check what this one is. And if we can look at the quality, it's got some pressable defects on there, but it's got some, color breaks and things like that. So let's just, generally call that a 7 or so. And then if we want to find the actual, comparison to my book, which is going to be, a near mint copy or so, let me just see what the lowest price advertised near mint copy is. eventually we can get to something like this. This one is being called a VF copy. Let's just assume that that's mine, being sold at $134. Again, that's not necessarily the value that this book commands today, because again, if somebody was actually going to value it at that, somebody would have already bought it. But I know that, if I have to post a near mint copy on eBay because I want to return this book because I no longer want, to own whatever this copy, I know that I can probably get my $100 back on my book. And then eventually that keeps my inventory and my comic books liquid. But just to also show you guys like how things change and that this is not always a perfect exact science, I have my copy of Strange Tales 104, probably a VG copy or so. I got this, a couple weeks back, and I think I bought this one for $70. So I got this one for $70. And as you can see, the goalposts move with these, book prices and things like that. So when I bought this thing, the lowest price book that I could find on eBay was being sold around the $70 range. So here's one that was an FR copy that is, 47 plus 32 for shipping. So generally around $70. Here's another one that is $70, but 25 shipping from Canada. But currently speaking, there's actually a book that used to be marked at $98, as you can see right there, but it's got 35% off and is currently being sold at $63. And this copy is like, a decent one. It's not the worst thing that I've ever seen. I think actually this is it right here. It's like a VG copy. It's probably the same grade as mine. So it goes to show that, again, maybe I bought a book, or currently the value I have in my Paste Pot Pete book is not as liquid as, I would like to think that it is, because, on eBay right there, someone could have this book for cheaper if they wanted it right now. But at the time in which I bought this thing, the $70 that I spent on it would have been the lowest price that I could get my hands on that book today. And effectively, that would have meant that, if I decided that I wanted to return the book back into the market, I could generally get my money back. Well, that is all I have for this video. That was just me sharing with you guys my personal golden rule for buying comic books. It's been one that has really, really helped me, have the hobby pay for itself. Again, I personally will only buy comic books that I see that are being sold for cheaper than the lowest price buy it now that you can find on eBay. And it's really, really been able to help me, return the books that I no longer want in my collection, or be able to cash in on the equity of books that have gone up in value. And that's allowed me to, make bigger purchases and basically have my entire collection pay for itself. Anyways, that is a rule that works for me. It may not work for you guys. This isn't some like crazy advice. Obviously, if you can find things being sold for cheaper than they're being sold online, that's always going to be a general good purchase. But, it is a good little reminder, and it is something that is really, maybe going to be helpful for some of you guys who watch the channel. Anyways, that is all for this video. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next one.